It's hard to imagine what life was like for the many thousands of convicts transported to Australia in the 1800s. Some didn't survive the journey or the harsh conditions, but others flourished. The Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery has acquired a notebook of one such convict made good, providing insight into some of the earliest scientific research in Tasmania.
Francis Abbott was transported to Tasmania in 1844 for obtaining 2 watches by false pretences. The English clockmaker brought with him a journal detailing his life's work.
It's a loved book. You can tell that he's handled it and used it a lot.
127 years after his death, the former convict's notebook has returned to Tasmania. It's been purchased by the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery from a private collection in Queensland using public donations.
It's a beautiful leather-bound notebook that has the wealth of all his information. As a clockmaker in England, he felt it was important to bring it with him because he could apply that trade once he had his freedom here.
Francis Abbott was sentenced to 7 years transportation but released after 3. He became one of Hobart's most respected citizens, gaining recognition as a clockmaker, astronomer and meteorologist.
He was very much a convict who made good.
Abbott's family home in Hobart is now the site of a clothing store, but much of his work still stands. He installed the oldest public clock in Tasmania, which still keeps time at Government House. Abbott was also one of the pioneers of meteorology in the Southern Hemisphere. For 25 years, the former convict kept weather records, which were published monthly and became the standard reference.
His weather records and a lot of his other research is still being acknowledged in scientific papers today.
As an astronomer, the former convict's papers on a changing star ruffled the feathers of British authorities.
He wasn't really agreed with, I believe, and they thought he was just a colonial upstart.
It wasn't until the Hubble telescope was sent into space over 100 years later that Abbott's theories were proven correct. It's hoped his notebook will provide insight into the life of a former convict whose work lives on today. Cara Douglas, ABC News.